Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sen.
15 PCA.
810-454.
Be sure to check us out over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in the description below. And if you're enjoying the videos, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. So, I want to say that fan favorite Fiona and Cake, which was the Ice King's fanfic that he wrote in the story of Adventure Time.
That happened to be an actual different universe.
So did he create that universe through his thoughts and it just manifested itself, or was he seeing into the window of another world in his madness?
It could be either or, because again the Ice King is always crazy.
But what that world represented, to me at least, was just a horny old man.
Yes.
So he wrote a horny little fanfic which people did. I mean, anyone who's been part of any fandom, who's read any type of fanfics, knows that there's ones that are written well,
and there's certain ones that are not so much,
that were there to please that fans whatever thing that they
version
were
in their head. Yeah.
Oh, if that these two characters being together, they would write a big sexy story about them being together.
Right.
So basically, the Ice King, it's weird because why would he write the story to make himself a woman? Because I know it's always a popular thing to rewrite the story but swap the genders. Even the lady who wrote Twilight did that. You can read Twilight with swap genders roles, written by the actual author. Stephanie Myers? Is that her name? I think it's Stephanie Myers. She wrote that story. So Bella's a dude, and it's the vampire boy is a girl.
Yeah.
So it's the same story. Nothing else is different except for the genders are different. I never understood the appeal of that, but especially if it's the same story.
Right.
What changes about the story? Nothing.
Nothing.
So that's kind of what Fiona and Cake was. Except for while Finn was like a 15-year-old boy who just looked like a boy, Fiona's like a thick woman.
Right.
Maybe in her 20s and has curves and thighs and an ass and looks physically attractive. As opposed to Finn, who really wasn't like a attractive young man. He was just kind of he built like a Lego man. He had, he wasn't built like anything. And I have people who say, well, the story's written by the horny Ice King, so that's why she would look that way.
Right.
But what's this whole... It's real?
It's real.
This is the real world. So is that a separate Earth?
Yes. I think there's going to different dimensions.
You can say like an alternate multiverse thing?
Yes. I would assume so, because later in the trailer we see other characters from Adventure Time that are part of it. Also, I think it's funny, too, that they say Adventure Time, even though the show's not.
It's Fiona and Cake. Here's the thing. So did the Ice Kings... You see Simon used to write those stories... But he's like, no, it wasn't me. That was the Ice King. I never saw the end of Adventure Time. As soon as Finn slept with Lumpy Ice Princess or Lumpy Space Princess, I stopped watching the show.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that whole episode when he was going around kissing all the princesses, and then at the end he totally has sex with Lumpy Space Princess. It gets heavily implied. I'm like, I'm done with this show. It's gone so far off the rails. So I don't know what happened in the end, but we see that in this version, Fiona's having dreams about having an adventure world. It's just like
Adventure Time, yeah.
Like those versions of those stories. She's like a tour bus guide?
Yes. To the town, wherever town it is.
I thought this was very disingenuous and it's something Finn would never do. She's talking about dreams, and then of course the one day I have a dream about being a hot dog, and that's Hot Dog Princess, obviously. But she's like, oh, my difference is my dreams are special. I'm like, well, record scratch. Are you inferring that other people's dreams aren't special, just yours?
Right. And then,
how very selfish of you, Fiona.
Right. And that's where I think, maybe she has a little more of her dad in her than... Because apparently Finn, the human boy Finn, was definitely more his mom than his dad. His dad was a complete
piece of garbage.
Right. So maybe in this version, she's more like her dad.
So there was even a clip out there where she's like, someone's complaining while her being a tour guide or doing something wrong. And then she just drops her skirt, so she's just standing there in her panties. And she's a woman, like a 20-year-old, very curvy young woman. So it's like, oh, I get to see this pretty young girl in her panties. And it's like, okay, horny fuel. This whole show is just horniness.
Right. That, and also it is on HBO. It's not on Cartoon Network. But again, maybe it's playing into the whole...
Actually, it's called Max.
Max, oh.
Remember Cinemax?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, so when I hear Max, I think Cinemax.
But again, though, maybe that's where, the Ice King's, idea of her is, being, maybe bled into her.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe, when he created that world, the dreams started like influencing the real version of her. But then, was she just a construct of his mind, or was she always real? And the Ice King like peered into that world, and then like through a window in his madness.
Yeah. So either way you split it up. It's either his influence or this is just how Fiona is.
And of course the whole thing is, and then it's just like more just like, you know, safe horny. Oh, we get to see Bubblegum and Marceline, but the guy versions. Oh, they're gonna be gay together. Hee. That's so cute. That's enough for you in a story. That's what fanfics were for originally.
Right.
Was for that fan to get it out of their system and be like, hee, this is my fun little thing. But now it's like official.
Right. Well,
that always makes me feel like, bleh.
Well, it makes it funny because didn't Adventure Time actually make an episode making fun of that? Where I think it was the weird wizard guy gave. Not Jake. Jake. All the little figurines.
Yeah.
And then he made his
kiss
own
and stuff.
Yeah, he made his own stories. Like, no, you're supposed to be together. Like, you can't like. And then Finn's like, dude, you need to like leave. Like, you can't just spend
being a god over these people. It's also making you into a kind of a monster.
Yeah, making you. Yeah,
and that's what fanfic writers, the ones who write fanfics like this, you're a monster. You actually don't care about real feelings and real things. You just want to see sexy time with the characters that you find attractive.
Right.
But you're so pathetic, you don't even write them to be with you. You have them be with other people. It's just and you can peek in through the window. You're a special kind of pervert. So you have the power to make the character be with you, but you don't do that. You make him be with someone else, and you just watch.
Right. And so I think it's very interesting to see where the story's going to go, because then you make fun of it, but now you're actually
actively doing it and making it actively part of the story. This is where I don't understand. We, like you mentioned before, you do see Jake and Finn.
Yeah.
And Finn's older.
Yeah, older man.
And he has his middle arm, and then he's running with Jake, and I hear their voices. I'm like, I want to watch that show.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch this Fiona show. Right. Yeah, sure, Fiona's hot. We get it. She's thick like a bowl of oatmeal that's been sitting on the counter for 3.5 hours. We get it. She has a round head that looks like a pumpkin that doesn't have a face, but her body's banging body. We get it.
Right,
but that's the driving force of this whole entire show.
Right, and it was kind of sad because like I actually did seem to perk up a little bit when I
heard Finn's voice and Jake going, "You're right, buddy." And like you're hearing Joe DiMaggio be Jake, it made me wanna.
Yeah, maybe that. Like I said, give me a show that.
It made me want to Floop the pig. It made me want to see those characters again. I didn't want to see any of these other characters.
Right, and you saw little glimpses of Bubblegum Princess and some of the others. So I'm like, okay, fine. Like, but then I also feel like
Prismo.
I
like Prismo. He's my man.
I think what the problem is though is that they know the show's not strong enough. They need to have those.
Bring in Jake and Finn.
Yeah, and everyone from Adventure
because
Time.
Yes, you'll get a pretty good amount of audience through the horny bait. Oh, look at Fiona, look up her skirt every episode. Which might be a thing. Because there's plenty of times where her in her little skirt and you can see... Like, there's that scene where she's, like, falling away. Even though she's wearing kind of, like, biker shorts, you're seeing, whoop, right up her skirt. And it's like, really? This is what you really... Like, there's animes out there that build themselves around fan service.
Yeah,
that's like their thing. So, we're doing that now? This is the fan service Adventure Time?
I don't know. I personally, just based off the thing, I wouldn't.
I'm just glad.
I wouldn't watch it, but
I'm just glad that they made it very clear that Fiona is a woman who's an adult.
Yes.
And not like a teenager where you're looking up her skirt every episode.
It wasn't like a 15-year-old.
Yeah, like she's obviously in her 20s, has her own apartment, has a job. So obviously she's like 20, anywhere between 20 and 28 years old. Yeah. She's the older one. She's a woman.
Right.
So thank God. She's not a teenager. That's creepy.
And the fact too that they wanted to maybe push the envelope. I'm glad they went to HBO. They didn't say, hey, let's put this on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, so there's no way. Like, they heavily implied a lot of things in Adventure Time. Are they going to show it in this? Will there be, like, the scene where, she's going to go take a shower. You don't see the nudity, but you see the outline of her body.
I don't know.
If the steamy air or whatever. It's going to be like, animes where you can't see the uncensored version unless you buy the Blu-ray.
Right.
I get a feeling that it's just built the horny bait, and it's working. If you go on Twitter right now, there's a million pictures of her in her little panties with her skirt down. Because that's like the big, like, oh, she's so cool that she did this. No, it kind of makes you
very weird.
It makes you a crazy person.
Yeah.
Because if someone was complaining to a male and he dropped his pants and he like saw his little bulge and his little undies, he'd get arrested.
Yeah, you get thrown in jail.
Oh, the thick girl does it, and it's like, ooh, look at her panties, it's so sexy. No one thinks it's sexy when a guy does it. They're a pervert, right? You get arrested for that. You get put on a list. Yeah. You get put on a sex offender list for doing that. So I don't know why people think that's so funny and so cute and so wonderful.
I don't know either.
I just want to see the parts with Jake and Finn, and I just want to see how they're going to explain all this.
Right, and it did show a lot of I forgot his name now.
Simon
and him not being the Ice King or anything. But yet, I feel like he's going to be drawn back to it somehow.
Because you do see the Ice King, but is that a flashback? Is that someone else taking up the mantle? Is it the ghost of the Ice King?
And then you see Simon meeting his wife.
Yeah.
Again, so...
What's her name? Betty?
Betty, I
was
think.
it?
I can't remember, but... And that was always touching, because there was always moments of, like, that's really...
Oh, the episode with I Remember You?
Mm-hmm.
This is the best episode of Adventure Time. It's so good. That's, in my mind... Modern cartoons, it's a top 10 episode.
Yeah.
Because it's so sad.
Well,
and it's so impactful and meaningful to Marceline, because every time she sees the Ice King, he doesn't even remember her. And it's like your grandpa has dementia and he doesn't remember you.
Right. And what I also like about that is always the struggle. Like, there's like... Because there's that episode, and there's the episodes where he's struggling being Ice King, where he's like, he knows he's losing his mind.
But he needs the power.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things.
Like, do it for her. I gotta save this little girl.
Right, or even or the fact to the first time he puts it on. Like, he's with his wife, and he wakes up, his house is destroyed, and his wife's like scared of him. He's like, what the hell happened?
Because it literally just takes you over.
Yeah, and he went crazy.
Because power is corrupting. Power is madness.
Mm-hmm.
And then he always called his wife his princess. That's why he was obsessed with princesses.
Yeah.
So like, there's
crazy.
a lot.
There's a lot
story,
in there,
and it's so sad.
Yeah.
And I like that Adventure Time. Not that look at Fiona's panties Adventure Time. That doesn't do it for me for the story wise.
Right. Well, and also that won't always hold your audience forever.
And I feel bad because Adventure Time also had a group of younger kids like the show. And I know, and it's just like, what if they saw that? Oh, I remember that. Then it's like, oh, look at this. Now it's like a horny show.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know.
Right. And yeah, it's always, I always find it sad, but if that's what the writers want to do, I guess. I'm not a fan of it, but...
It's so weird because normally I would complain about, they they cover a girl up and they put her into like, yeah, but this one, it's like they're purposely being super sexy. But I just feel like this is the wrong story for that. Like, I wouldn't mind if they did like a Red Sonja cartoon and she's wearing her little tiny metal bikini because that's what the character always was.
Right.
And it isn't like, this is just the female version of Conan. No, it was a completely different character.
Right. Exactly.
So, and this is supposed to be just the female version of Finn, and then it's just weird.
Right, and which we also knew that Finn was never like a guy that's like,
granted, take my shirt off and...
Yeah, let me be in my short shorts and like,
Yeah.
Granted, I know people say, we did take shirt off.
Except for when he made his hair all black and his little black mustache, he was so sexy. You look like the devil. Maybe in that fake life, and he was like, had a friend and everything, and he's just like a normal guy. That was a funny episode.
But yeah, so maybe that's what the problem is that like, you should have made a whole different character, not say, he's this female Finn, because Finn...
I think the story of like, isn't it funny when people make fanfics and swap the genders? Look who else does that. A crazy person. Ha ha, people who do that are crazy. That's the joke.
Yeah, right. But now that's become the show.
It's hard to... Now you're actively doing it.
Yeah.
Instead of it being a satire and making fun of fanfics, you are the fan. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's super weird.
Yeah, you made fun of them so much you became one of them. Yeah.
You became the monster, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That, again, technically... The animation looks fine.
Yeah.
It looks like it originally does, but better.
But better, yeah.
It's fun to see the same characters again, but at the same time, I like stories being their own thing.
Right, and that's one thing we didn't even talk about or touch about. Could you imagine seeing Bubblegum say some raunchy thing? Because now
she can now. She can imagine cussing and dropping F-bombs and stuff.
Exactly, or even having Finn being kind of more like...
Oh, F this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'd be weird.
I don't want to hear him say that.
I know, it's weird.
Even though he probably would. Exactly. But in my mind, it's like, I don't know.
It's like the dilemma I always thought of with like another Cartoon Network show, regular show, if that could cuss.
Oh, yeah. Then you got the other one they made.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget that one was called. But they're like humans. Same animation.
Same animation, similar voice actors.
Yeah, everything's exactly the same. It's literally a regular show, but with humans. Super raunchy.
Yeah.
Like, super raunchy.
And that's where I sit there and I'm like, dude, like, it already pushed the envelope on regular show. And I feel like having Benson, like, say, you mother effers, it would have been interesting.
Maybe we would get some work done if you weren't always focusing on Benson's crank. Maybe we would actually get some work done. He throws up the actual gumballs. That's hilarious. That's so stupid. But, yeah, so some things I think work better within the fence of PG-13.
Right. Because
once you take the fence away, do whatever you want, you go to the lowest common denominator of, let's be raunchy, say the F word, and have sex.
Right.
And that's the problem with the Harley Quinn show.
Yeah.
Oh, she cusses and has sex.
And it
that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
That's actually more confining than being stuck in a PG-13 world and having to make something compelling that everyone can enjoy.
Right.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait to what people say before I watch this at all. Like if people are like, oh no, it's actually really good, I might check it out. Because I gave up on Adventure Time like midway through. Like I don't know, maybe I got 80% of the way through. Mm-hmm. And then like when Jake really isn't like he's an alien.
Yeah.
Because like his other family members can't transform, only he can. But there was like a shape-shifting alien that came down, went into his mom's belly, like killed his brother, and then like became him. So technically he's not really, his mom's really not his mom.
Yeah.
He was like a parasite or something.
And then like kind of like they like took meld with the dog. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's super weird. So like all that kind of stuff made me like, it just made me like it less. Because I like the idea of Jake not really being Jake.
Yeah, I think that was maybe another problem.
Then, like, all his kids grew up, like, in 2 months.
Yeah,
and they're, like, full-blown adults. He never got to be, like, a dad.
Yeah, like, he got to be a dad for, like, 2 weeks.
and then they all, like, grew up.
Yeah.
So, like, stuff like that just made me, like, why write the story that way?
Because you need to convenient out.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, now you can be back with Finn and just go do on adventures.
Right. Or sometimes when you explain too much. Or, like, yeah, we don't need, like I said, maybe we didn't need all of that.
Or like Finn always getting his balls busted by all the chicks.
Well, he actually liked that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I remember that Leaf assassin girl. Like, what's wrong with Finn? Like, you work well together, you like each other, but it's like, I don't like you. It's just like if I just wanted to shit on Finn. It's like that's why every single time you try to get close to anyone.
Well, that was also the interesting part about Finn. Yeah, whenever he actually
honestly cared about someone.
Yeah, then it kind of fell apart. But then, like, if he just didn't like nonchalantly, like,
yeah, like, oh, let's be best buddies. Then it was like, But as soon as he started liking them back, it's like, ew.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
It is weird.
It's so weird. But yeah, this is one of those shows where I think it was built on a shaky idea. Now they're gonna try to flesh it out, and that's really hard to do.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off.
Yeah, and I think what's gonna happen, like you said, with a lot of shows, they're gonna have all the intense stuff at the beginning, and then we'll see if it has any story left after.
Yeah, and it just seems like this is the only thing coming out of this is Rule 34 stuff. Is the porn stuff.
Yeah, or the crazy fanfics are gonna come out of it.
Yeah, because now the fanfic of the fanfic that became official of the fanfics.
Yes, exactly.
When a fanfic becomes real, I don't know. Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on the video really helps out a lot. It gets the video spread around more people get to see the videos, and we get to make more videos for you guys. So thank you, and we appreciate every single one of you guys.